Welcome back to Pause and Respond. I'm Josua Rine, licensed professional counselor. And today we're talking about a kind of loneliness that people don't often discuss. Not physical loneliness, not being isolated, not having people around, but feeling alone while surrounded by people. Feeling unseen, misunderstood, or disconnected. Feeling like people know your responsibilities, but they don't really know you. And that's confusing because from the outside, life can look full. You may have relationships and family and friends, even coworkers and people to talk to. Some people might even depend on you and know your name. And yet, something still feels missing. And often what is missing isn't people, it's honesty. Because you can only feel deeply connected to someone to the degree that you actually know them. And if people only know the filtered version of you, they can only connect with that filtered version. And that's what we're unpacking today. Because many people are not lonely because nobody loves them. They're lonely because nobody really knows them. One of the most painful forms of loneliness is not rejection. It's invisibility. It's being appreciated, but not understood. Needed, but not known. Loved, but not fully seen. And here's the tragedy. Sometimes we blame others for this, when the truth is we never let them see us. We show them competence, responsibility, humor, strength, but we hide fear, disappointment, need, sadness, and loneliness. So people learn the version of us that we presented, and over time, we begin feeling disconnected with relationships that never actually had access to the real person underneath. Most people don't hide because they're dishonest. They hide because they've learned vulnerability was dangerous. Maybe growing up, emotions weren't welcome. Maybe pain was ignored or weakness was criticized. Maybe needs were viewed as burdens. Maybe their vulnerabilities were used against them. And over this time, their nervous systems adapted. They adapted to the idea of always being strong, always handling it yourself, staying composed, not needing much from others or those around. And for a while, those strategies tend to be successful. They may even create productivity and competence. But eventually, over time, those same strategies create loneliness. Because self-protection prevents rejection, but it also prevents intimacy. And that's because intimacy requires honesty. Why high-functioning people often feel the loneliness? This is something I see all the time. The people who carry the most often share the least. The helper, the leader, the provider, that one dependable person, the calm one, the problem solver. Everyone goes to them, but they rarely go to anybody else. And after years of carrying everything themselves, they begin feeling emotionally isolated. Not because the people around them don't care, but because they've trained everyone to believe that they can handle it, that they've got it, that they're fine. They've given them permission not to worry about it. And eventually people believe them. And this creates one of the saddest realities in adulthood. And that's being surrounded by people and still feeling emotionally alone, disconnected. Here's the hard truth. Connection requires risk. There is no intimacy without vulnerability. No relationship grows deeply through performance alone. It grows through honesty. It doesn't have to be perfect honesty. It doesn't have to be emotional dumping. but enough honesty that another human being can actually know you. Because love without being known feels incomplete. You start wondering, if they knew what I really struggled with, would they still love me? If they knew what I really felt, would they still stay? And that's where loneliness grows. Because secrecy and connection cannot thrive together. One of them has to win. And the filtered self cannot feel fully loved. I mean, think about that for a moment. If people only know your filtered self, then your filtered self receives the love, not the real you. And that creates an emotional paradox. People love you, but you don't feel loved. People appreciate you, but you don't feel seen. People care about you, but you still feel lonely. Why? Because part of you wonders, if they really knew me, would they still be here? And under that fear gets challenged. Loneliness remains. Because connection isn't built through perfection. It's built through honesty. Now, men tend to struggle with this. Men are taught to provide, protect, perform, solve. But very few men are taught to share and partner, to receive support, to communicate fears, to talk about disappointments, to just simply admit loneliness and disconnection. To say I'm struggling, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. And because of that, many men become incredibly capable and incredibly isolated. Successful, but lonely. Needed, but unknown. And that's not weakness. That's the cost of emotional self-containment. And this is where the pause and respond framework becomes powerful. Because instead of automatically hiding, you pause, you ask, what am I carrying alone right now? What am I afraid people would see? What part of myself have I stopped sharing? Then instead of further withdrawing, you risk the appropriate honesty. So that might sound like telling somebody, I've been carrying a lot lately. I don't think I've been as honest as I need to be. I know I act like everything's okay, but inside, I'm struggling. Or even simpler, I could use some support right now. That doesn't have to be dramatic. That doesn't have to be overwhelming. It just has to be honest. And that honesty creates opportunities for connection. Because being known changes everything. People don't heal simply by being loved. If that was the case, everybody's marriage would be perfect. They heal by being loved while known, loved while imperfect, while struggling, when uncertain, while they're human. And that's what changes people, not admiration, not performance or correction. Because the nervous system relaxes when it no longer has to constantly maintain a certain image. And that's why honesty is so powerful. Not because it removes pain, but because it removes isolation. Now, the goal isn't to tell everybody everything. The goal is to stop carrying everything alone. Because emotional isolation slowly drains people. And often what we need most is not advice. It's not solutions. We don't need to necessarily be fixed. We just need the experience of being known. And that experience can change everything. Because loneliness isn't always the absence of people. Sometimes it's the absence of honesty. Now, today's challenge, I want you to ask yourself, who really knows you? Who knows what you really fear or what you struggle with? Who knows what you carry or what you need? And where I've mistaken emotional protection for emotional strength. Because sometimes strength isn't carrying more. Sometimes strength is letting yourself be known. So if this episode connected with you, the new book, Pause and Respond, The Honesty Advantage, goes much deeper into this emotional honesty, relationships, learning how to build deeper connections without becoming reactive. You can get the book, other workbooks, podcast resources, and all the information for the coaching program at pauseandrespond.com. If this episode helps you, share it with someone who appears strong on the outside, but may be carrying far more alone than anybody realizes. Because sometimes loneliness isn't about having nobody around. It's simply about feeling unknown. This is Pause and Respond. Less reaction, more choice.